Ravenswood. This was supposed to still be in Florida. Hang on a minute. This could be kind of dangerous. It's coming towards the car. Really should get going. Okay, as I said, I wanted to save this for later, but it looks like my car brought us here now. This is Ravenswood. It was settled in 1800 by people. America was a much different place in the 1800s. There were no iPads, only books. Coca-Cola was a 5-cent medicine with 10 milligrams of cocaine per glass. And Henry Ford's first car was 100 years away. After George Washington kicked out the French and Native Americans during the 7 Years' War, King George II gave the general a bit of land by the Ohio River in Virginia Territory. But George Washington had a country to run, so he left it empty for a long time. One of Washington's grandnieces eventually inherited the land. Henrietta Fitzhugh was living in Bogdania when she heard about her inheritance. Her fiancé, Edgar Ravenswood, insisted they travel to the New World and settle the land, partly because of the American dream, but mostly because of the villagers. The couple founded the town of Ravenswood in 1830, where they hoped to move forward the ideals of living that they had begun back in Bogdania, but were stifled by superstitious villagers and ignorant folk. Other settlers soon followed, and the first generation of Ravenswood natives were born, including, in 1825, Landolph Adams and his twin brother Greg. Both grew up in the Gothic utopia of Ravenswood before attending Transylvania College down in nearby Kentucky in 1844. Tragically, Greg was killed in a duel with his fraternity brother, John Hunt Morgan. It was a bittersweet time at Transylvania Uni for Landolph, as meeting John Hunt Morgan, his brother's killer, and meeting the future president of the Confederate States of America, Jefferson Davis, proved to be lucrative connections when the War of Northern Aggression broke out in 1861. Lucrative because Landolph became a brigadier general in the Confederate States Army. At the same time, his hometown of Ravenswood and all of Virginia seceded and joined the Confederacy. But this didn't last long, unfortunately, as most western counties of Virginia voted to rejoin the United States and called themselves West Virginia.
West Virginia.
During the Battle of Buffington Isle, Landolph looked across the Ohio River and at his hometown of Ravenswood. He had seen enough killing and wanted to go home, or so reports say.
Darling, please don't say my love won't be strong when we are apart. Every time I must say goodbye to you, it breaks my heart.
But while trying to escape, Landolph was shot dead, or so reports would have you believe. The war between the states was soon over as well. Ravenswood then went quietly into isolation, although conflicting census records state Landolph Adams returned to Ravenswood. He lived there, at the very least, until 1950, when this footage was shot, making Landolph Adams 125 years old when this was shot. And that is a brief history of Ravenswood. I'm not saying everyone here is a vampire, but the sun's setting awfully quick. I'd feel safer in my car. Let's just drive around for a little bit. Great. Okay, back in the car. Everything seems to be. A lot of old-time houses here. Kind of nice. You just wonder who's up there in the attic, just hanging out. If it wasn't so creepy, it'd be a nice town. There goes that sun. We should really head out of here. Let's get out of here. Okay, now we're going down Main Street, Ravenswood. It's not too bad because this is mainly occupied by people passing through the town. You don't know it's horrible scene. Why does that sun have to set so quickly? Okay, so as they say, the wrong side of the tracks. I'm sure that caution tape means nothing too bad ever happened here. Off in the distance. And that sun is just about gone. So I think it's about time we did as well. This should take us back to Florida, where we belong. It should be sunnier there too. Hold on.
The city where Richard Anderson lives. A city neither small nor large, simply a normal community where people live together, work together, and do things for each other. The story begins at daybreak. All is quiet in the Anderson home. Everybody is asleep. It is still some time before Richard has to get up for breakfast.
Don't be scared. I'm the super sweet monster with the super sweet new cereal, Count Chocula. Chocolate sweeties for monstrous chocolate flavor. Count Chocula.
But for Richard, the day is just beginning. Every morning on his way to school, Richard sees the people of his community going about their jobs. After school, there is time for Richard to play on a community ball field. But parks and playgrounds are only one way in which the people of the community find enjoyment and recreation. There are other ways, too. At night, when Richard goes to bed, he may have thought very little about his community, what he has done for it, and what it has done for him. So the work in Richard's community goes on day after day, night after night. People working for each other, depending on each other. All of them partners in making their community a better place in which to live.